I'm Wally Cardle. My broadcast colleague to my right is Mike Lane, and we welcome you all to this edition of our WL Championship Wrestling. We have an excellent card for this first program of 2023. Scheduled to be on hand with us tonight will be Primetime Bobby Mills. The lovely Showbiz will be competing tonight in a non-title matchup with Women's World Champion Dynamite Jeannie Parker and Mike. I think the tension will be thick surrounding that ladies' division match.
I'm counting on it, Wally. Jeannie D and Showbiz can't stand one another. We'll also see in action tonight the originals, along with Ballarat, Jack Jones, and Niles Wickheiser.
All that, plus a 6-woman tag team match that's sure to be a hit. And in the main event, champion versus champion as Magic and American Supreme Matt Clark square off. All that and a lot more when we return in a moment with our first match.
Wrestling fans, welcome to tonight's edition of RWL Championship Wrestling, promoted and produced by Ringside Wrestling League, Incorporated. President, Jack McLeod. General Manager, Seamus O'Toole. Field Manager, Steve Grosvenor. The doctor in attendance, Dr. Beverly Sims Barnett. The timekeeper, Marty Marvin. The referees, Walt Rothburn, Willie Johnson, Tom Kanamura, Anthony Corallo. And I'm your RWL ring announcer. My name is Ida Holly. Our opening contest is set for one fall, with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing first, from Worcester, Massachusetts, weighing 270 pounds, here is John Bob Kennedy.
All right, Wally, here we go with John Bob Kennedy. And the big guy's looking pretty ready for tonight's opening match as he prepares to go one-on-one with Primetime Bobby Mills. So, let me ask you, Mr. Cardle, what's your opinion of John Bob Kennedy?
Mike, I've never seen him compete. He's a solid all-around heavyweight, but all I see is a Raymond Burr lookalike in a spandex onesie.
And his opponent, from Pineville, West Virginia, weighing 238 pounds, Primetime Bobby Mills.
Primetime has had more than his usual swagger lately, since he started running with Dirty Dutch Mantell and Big Bob Duncombe, now the self-named and Holy Trinity. What makes a basically honest guy turn to rule breaking instead of utilizing their own natural talents? Mike, I mean, why? What the actual factual hell?
Wally. Okay, fans, this one's ready to get going.
There's the bell, Primetime with the hard right hands, but no. Blocked by Kennedy. Kennedy has him up, but no good, Primetime refusing to take that ride. Like Primetime with a gouge of the eyes on Kennedy, and what a rotten way to buy time. Why that no good mother, and into a German suplex, just knocking the wind out of Kennedy.
Boy, I tells you, Wally Cardle, these New York City fans letting Primetime hear it about himself while he tees off on the guy's chest with that elbow. You know you can't fight if you can't breathe, and I think Primetime's worked that one out for himself. Gonna be a tough night for Kennedy if this keeps up.
Mike, hold on a sec. Nice fireman's carry by Kennedy, and Kennedy coming alive here. Trying to mount a comeback to regain control of this match. Kennedy charges, misses the double axe handle, and the fans getting behind John Bob Kennedy, but Primetime's one step ahead again.
It's been a pretty tough go for Kennedy in just the first minute.
Mike, Primetime just beating a rhythm on Kennedy's skull, and that will scramble your cerebellum after a while. Kennedy quickly back to his feet, but too late. Primetime Bobby Mills all over him like on a manatee, and setting Kennedy up. Knee to the face, and now just leaning into a blatant chokehold on Kennedy. Do something, will you, ref?
Wally, I gotta confess a grudging admiration for the methodical manner he's been carrying out his attacks on Kennedy. I mean, he's been really strategic, picking his targets, like the use of that elbow there.
Mike, and again, Primetime with the blatant choke on Kennedy, almost at will, almost daring referee Tom Kanamura to do something about it. And no, Oh, it's looking pretty bad for John Bob Kennedy, as he is just being systematically decimated a bit at a time by Mills.
He learned that from Mantell and Duncan. He didn't used to run like that.
Kennedy's not out of this one just yet, going back on the attack, taking the fight to Primetime, who's looking surprised. And for the first time tonight, Primetime's back is on the canvas. Kennedy goes for the half crab, but has to break the hold. Kennedy moves in, but Mills with the counter. What a suplex from Primetime on Kennedy. Shoulders pinned, hooks the leg. 1, 2. And somehow, someway, John Bob Kennedy gets a shoulder up. Kennedy counters, Kennedy charges, and slips up and gets hung up on the ropes. And guess who's coming through anyway? Primetime really pressing the advantage now.
Maybe John Bob Kennedy might want to think about working out on a treadmill or something.
Hard Irish whip into the corner, and oh my! Mills just teeing off on Kennedy in the corner.
I don't know. It looks to me like Kennedy's had it.
Wait a second. Kennedy's starting to push back here. Charges, and misses again. Another whip into the corner. Another change, and no good. Primetime elbow finds the mark. Kennedy's got to do something because he's getting battered all over.
Primetime turning his attention away from the opponent. That's bad.
Catches Mills off guard, and Kennedy wasting time here. And it is just too late now. Primetime with a flying back elbow. And Mills goes for the pin. Again, another near fall.
And he's really letting Tom Connemora hear about it too. But you know, Wally, that's another smart move by Primetime. It's taking energy to keep having to break out of pin after pin. It wears you down.
Here he goes again with that elbow to the sternum.
Like I said, methodical Wally.
Kennedy would have to be superhuman to not be feeling pain with every breath. Primetime perched up on that top rope. It's not looking good for Kennedy. Flying body press by Mills. Another pin attempt by Mills. 1, 2. And yet again, somehow, Kennedy manages to break the pin.
Not trying to be critical or anything, but John Bob Kennedy maybe needs to sit down somewhere and reevaluate what he might be doing wrong here. Because he hasn't been able to mount any useful offense here. And Mills blinds Kennedy again. And boy oh boy, what a clothesline by Primetime. But look at this here, Kennedy counters. Tries to close in again. But whoa, Mills catches him out there with a back body drop, and it looks like Primetime is sensing a win is close.
There isn't an ounce of quit in either of these two. Fatigue really starting to set in for these two, and somebody is gonna have to finish this match soon. Kennedy playing a little okey-doke with Mills, and Primetime not liking it a bit. Kennedy with a whip and a charge, and Mills dodges the bullet again. He has sure had Kennedy's number tonight.
I can tell, Wally, kicking out of this last pin attempt, it's taken most of the fight out of John Bob Kennedy, and with the clock running down, I don't know if he can hold on long enough to catch Primetime off guard again.
But Kennedy stuns Mills. Kennedy whips stun Mills into the corner, and here we go. Running Bulldog, and Primetime seeing the stars for a change. This is it. Knows his chance. He has got to move in on Bobby Mills now.
Kennedy's feeling it. He is feeling it.
Sleeper. Sleeper hold. Kennedy's got it locked in, and Primetime in danger. This could be it. He's got it locked in pretty good. How? Not good enough. Another gouge, but Kennedy's got a hold of Primetime, setting up for the vertical suplex. But Primetime counters, still one step ahead.
Primetime trying a little modified sleeper of his own, but Kennedy wasn't having any of it. And here we go again. Kennedy unable to mount any decent offense.
Just an amazing match, but it has to end soon. And maybe it will. Kennedy whips Mills to the outside and onto the arena floor. Now Kennedy off the top rope, and that was 270 pounds dropping on you from about 10 feet in the air.
Like being hit by a car.
Mills Phelps complains to the opponent he should be fighting. Big mistake, and Kennedy makes him pay with an atomic drop.
This is it. The break Kennedy's been waiting for. He can end this right here.
Now Kennedy with his first pin attempt in the match, and it's a to count only. This is Kennedy's problem. Has dealt some damage to Primetime, but not enough. Needs to buckle down and finish Mills quickly. Primetime back to his feet and flying back elbow. John Bob Kennedy counting the ring lights. Count to 100 by fives. This one is over.
Here is the time, 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Your winner by pinfall, per rhyme. Time, Bobby Mills.
Big surprise, Primetime fights his way to a dirty win over John Bob Kennedy, who may want to forget this day ever happened.
Well, there it was. Kennedy's one moment of true brilliance in tonight's match. And you're not kidding, it's one he's gonna want to forget. And I mean, John Bob Kennedy wasn't bad. It's only that Primetime Bobby Mills just seemed to be able to call every move he was gonna make really got inside Kennedy's head. You know what I mean? And when an opponent has you that figured out, there's almost no way to win at all.
And fans, as you enjoy these highlights, we remind you not to go too far away, because we will be back with more mat action in just a moment.